Hello lovely friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be coming at you with something really different. I don't plan on talking about politics on any of my future videos, honestly. It's something that I like to keep off of my channel because it's very divisive and I don't want to do that. I don't want to divide people even further than they are. But I can't stop thinking about everything that's going on in California. I can't stop thinking about my neighbors. I can't stop thinking about my boyfriend and my family in Miami. And I'm just mad today. I feel like unless I get this off my chest, I'm gonna lose the whole day to my own thoughts. So this is actually not gonna be positive or uplifting. It's gonna be quite negative and ranty, actually. So, trigger warnings. I'm gonna be talking about gun violence. I'm gonna be talking about depression. I'm gonna be talking about a lot of things that could potentially make people sad. So, if any of my students are watching this and you don't want to hear about this, please click off. Just to let you know, I'm safe and I'm okay. So when I present you with all of this information, I'm not the one that you have to worry about. I feel like all of my opinions are going to bring on some interesting assumptions about my character. So just to put out some buzzwords so that people don't lose their shit. I am a registered Democrat. I voted for Biden, although I'm not quite sure that that'll work out in the long run. I don't really believe in him. I'm a teacher. What else? I don't know. Alright, well, forget all of the intersectional stuff. I'll just talk. So you can put this video on in the background. It's basically just going to be me talking. No visuals of anything. It's fine. Okay, let me start from the beginning. I live in a low-income, predominantly Mexican-American neighborhood. Most of my neighbors are low-income and undocumented. I love my neighbors. I love my neighborhood. My neighborhood has a park and a community center, and both of those things bring a lot of activity, whether it's soccer games, farmers markets, little festivals, picnics, all types of stuff to keep the community engaged and enriched. But over the last 10 months, or however long it's been since March, I'm sorry if I got the number of months wrong, it's gotten really quiet, and bad things happen in low-income neighborhoods when it gets quiet. We've had 7 shootings in the last 6 months, and 3 people are dead. And these are my neighbors. They're the people that live on the other side of the park. They're the people that live across the street. And none of them had any gang affiliation. Of the 7 shootings, 1 was a 14-year-old girl. She got shot in the neck. 1 was an 18-year-old man. You know, we call 18-year-olds men, but he's still a boy. in my eyes, honestly, still a boy. He got shot in the chest. Another one was a 27-year-old disabled man. He had eaten a bowl of cereal and then took a walk around the park, and then he got shot. And so he's dead. And then the other 3 were middle-aged men between 45 and 51. And they were just sitting at a bench, and somebody just came by and just shot them. And 2 of them died. 1 of them was in critical condition. And none of them had any gang affiliation. But police do think that it's, gang violence, just in the sense that it's a one of mine for one of yours type of case. And so the neighborhood was basically begging for more police presence in the park, and we got it. So right now things have been peaceful, and that's really good. But I'm really mad and sad because the response from so many people online is just, what do you expect? What do you expect from that neighborhood? Because, you know, my neighborhood, they call it the barrio. Like 10 years ago, you didn't want to be in this neighborhood. 10 years ago, it was full of a whole bunch of violence and you know, more than what's currently happening. But over the last 10 years, it got a lot better. I wonder if a lot of that is due to the amount of resources and activities that this neighborhood had over the last 10 years. You know, the community center across the street, it's, in my opinion, it's the heart of this place. The community center has a library, it has a community garden, it has art classes, it has a gym that's super reasonably priced, $60 for 6 months. We have boxing classes, a pool, study groups. We have English classes for those who can't speak English. We have a program called WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, a service that provides low cost to free healthcare for women, infants, and children. And the community center also provided low-income families with free food once a week. There would be lines going out that place, but all of that got shut down in March because all of that happens in the community center. And so all of those resources are gone. All of those resources that kept people healthy, all of the resources that kept people fed, all of the resources that kept kids off the streets and kept people occupied and enriched and educated and something that just even felt like opportunity. You know, like things could be better. Things could have been better. Things could have been more, but now they're gone. And so, yeah, what do you expect from a low-income neighborhood when you strip them away of their resources? What do you expect from a low-income neighborhood when things were already hard for people and you strip them of their jobs? And it's also simple to everybody else. It's also easy. People just sit around pointing fingers on the internet for who did it, who's responsible. And all of my neighbors are sitting around just hoping that this ends because they need their income. So I'm just really confused by what's happening in California. I'm really confused, and I'm scared, and I'm sad. I don't know what people hear when they hear that a small business has closed down. I don't know what people hear or think about when they hear that another restaurant has closed down. So many businesses in Pasadena and in Los Angeles are gone. Most of them are not coming back. And it's almost like there's this cheer online. Like, what do you think about when you think about a small business and you think about a restaurant? Do you think every owner has the income of Jeff Bezos? Do you think that everyone who owns a restaurant or a small business is some millionaire? And even if they are, you know, most restaurants and small businesses are staffed by people of color, by Latin people and Black people, and the food service industry is mostly my neighbors. All of these restaurants that you don't care about, all of these small businesses that you're basically cheering on for closing down and closing forever, that's not just the manager's life, that's not just the owner's life that has been impacted. If you don't care about the owner, you know, whatever, but that's 10 or 15 people that now have no job. 10 or 15 people in the food service industry that now have no job. You know what people in the food service industry have on their resume most of the time, right? Food service. And so where are they supposed to go after they've lost these jobs? They're not going to be applying to any other restaurants because those restaurants have closed down. And by the time the lockdown is over and most Restaurant owners have lost 90% of their business and now need to pay $14, $15 in minimum wage. I think Pasadena's $15 in minimum wage now, or 14, I don't remember. You're going to have this surplus of people looking for jobs and not enough employers with the money to give it to them. So it's not going to solve income inequality. If anything, it's just going to heighten it. Who is going to be hiring my neighbors after this pandemic is over? Who is going to be hiring them? Who is going to be paying them $15 in minimum wage if they can't afford to? My boyfriend, Andrew, is the operations manager of a very nice, fancy coffee shop here in Pasadena. And I own a business for disabled adults. I'm a creative career mentor for disabled adults. And I've started this business during the pandemic. This is not the video that I want to talk about that because I'm like on the verge of breaking down and I can't articulate it well. But my point is that in October, I got corona, and I was really lucky that it was a really mild case. I had a runny nose and I lost my sense of taste for a couple weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks. I immediately called all my clients and I was like, get yourself tested. I got corona. All of my clients tested negative, which is fantastic. None of them had any symptoms. None of them had anything. They're all still healthy, and that's amazing. I'm the only person that they let into their life, by the way. In terms of who comes in from the outside world, I'm the only person that they let into their homes. After 3 weeks, I was able to go back to work. So I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then it took me about another week to get access to a test. The whole time that I was in quarantine, I thought about how lucky it was for me to be able to do that in the first place. I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of income. November was difficult because October was not profitable. But I looked around my neighborhood and I thought, there's no way. There's no way that anyone in a worse off position than me can miss 3 weeks of work for a runny nose. And I know that it's not just a runny nose. I know that it's COVID. I know. But there's no way that anyone in a worse off position than me financially can miss 3 weeks of work, can miss 2 weeks of work. And I heard from a friend that one of her friends tested positive after 28 days of having the virus. 28 days. So you still test positive, which means that you have to quarantine for another 2 weeks. So now that's 6 weeks of work lost. I just don't know how any of my neighbors can do that. And I know the answer. Most aren't doing that. Most aren't doing that. Do you think that any of my neighbors, I see them, I see my community every day. I see some of my neighbors out on the street waiting for work, waiting for the truck to come by to take them to construction sites. I see families selling food. You know that the only people really suffering from this are the people that we claim to care about. The people hitting this the hardest are the poor, the sick, and the disabled. I'm not going to feel it as hard as my neighbors will feel it. I can work from home. I'm an artist. My neighbors aren't. Most of my neighbors work in the service industry, and that service industry has been decimated by COVID. What happens when this is all over? Are restaurants and services just going to pop right back up? When they've lost 90% of their income, how will they pay the $15 minimum wage to each and every single one of those people that are waiting for employment? If an employer has lost most of his income and he has to pay a living wage, he cannot pay it to 10 people. He cannot pay it to 15 people because he's lost most of his income and most of his revenue. He has to be very selective. And so what if employers have to start demanding a lot more out of the employees for things that are essentially the job of 3 people. I can't afford to hire 3 people, so I have to get 1 person that does the work of 3 people. I don't see service industries getting it easier after this. I see it getting harder. And I'm confused by how comfortable some people are in just the idea that because our government put us in this position, that they are now going to fix it. And I know that the answer from a lot of people is, well, they have to fix it if they want to get reelected. They have a whole bunch of tactics to get reelected. And none of those include actually helping people. A lot of the times it's just pandering and lying and cheating. And people a lot smarter than I am, people who study human psychology and are intellectuals, usually fall into the camp that people are born bad and you have to teach them how to be good. So many people in our country continue to say, our government can't handle even the smallest things. Our government continues to fail us. We are not the greatest country in the world. So many people continue to say that over and over and over again and have absolutely no faith in our country. But the one thing that they do have faith in, that they do think we could get right, is a system that has failed time and time and time again everywhere else that it has been tried on a big scale. Socialism and Marxism. That is the only thing that apparently people have no problem having faith in. They say, oh my God, yeah, our country sucks. We can't even get the smallest thing right. Oh my God, $600? Our country doesn't even care about us. Oh my God, but you know what they will do? They're gonna give us everything though. They're gonna give us everything for very little in exchange, if anything in exchange. I have no doubt about that. We could do it. And I'm very confused because those same people say things like, we should respect immigrant voices. We need to listen to perspectives that are different from our own. And so then the undocumented workers and the immigrants from other countries come in and they wave their arms and they say, hey, this whole thing that you're trying to do with the socialism and the Marxism, it's nice in certain things, but you're starting to do things that we don't see going very well in the future. This is kind of going in a direction that we've experienced before. Don't do it. Like they're waving their arms and they're telling us that we're about to crash. And what we do in return is just turn to them and say, oh, are you afraid? Oh my God. That is so cute. Look, I know that you've lived experiences, but I've read theories. And honestly, the reason why yours didn't work out is because you're primitive. We're gonna do it the way that the small white countries do it. And we know better, so there's nothing to be afraid of. What? You know that doesn't happen without a fight, right? I wish that people would just admit that those casualties aren't going to be most of us. Those casualties are going to be the people that you're claiming to fight for. They're going to be the poor, the sick, and the disabled. Because they're the ones who aren't even surviving this. I'm only posting this video in the hopes that, there can be some admittance from people that this is complicated. And I'm not telling you what to do. I wear my mask when I go outside. I try to be socially distant from everybody, even my clients. People just think everything's gonna be fine. 3 people in my neighborhood have already died, and it's not from the illness. It's from everything that happens when you strip people of their resources and you take away their sense of opportunity. And the government did that. And people just think that we're just gonna get it back. They put us here. They're the ones that are gonna get us out of it. Y'all are so comfortable giving up a lot of agency over your own life. In short, I don't like the lockdowns, but again, I know it's complicated. I don't want to overrun hospitals, but I also don't want my neighbors' lives to be destroyed. With that, I want to leave you with some word of positivity. If you can, stay safe. Wear your mask. Socially distance yourself from others who might be more vulnerable than you. And try to see how you can help people. Try to see what you can create that will help all of those people in the future that are gonna need jobs. I hope that we can come together as a community, regardless of what your political affiliation is. I think all of us can see the devastation, and now is the time to create new pathways to possibilities for people. I don't know. Be safe. I will talk to you in my next video, and it'll be all happy and positive. I got it out of my system. I love you. Thanks for listening. Bye.